Thank you very much, and it's obviously very much appreciated to have an invitation to this event tonight. So my name's Senior Constable Blackhurst, or Josh. I'm more than happy to be called Josh. I work at the Sydney Local Area Command, so we're just down the road, pretty much near Darling Harbour. I have a little bit of a presentation that we do usually give to international students, but it's probably a bit longer than 10 minutes, so forgive me if I skip through some of our slides. The first one, I guess we can probably do without the slides up, is a bit of an overview of what we are as police here in New South Wales. So if you can go through to the, get going. Oh, well, actually, most importantly, first of all, how do we contact police in New South Wales? Unfortunately, we're not like the US. You can't call 911 here. I mean, you can. It does still go through to the same place, which is very, very good. But our emergency phone number here is 000. The next one's also very important. So let's say you're on the train to uni and you accidentally leave your bag on the train and you're freaking out and you don't know what to do, you don't know where the nearest police station is, you're not sure what to do. You can call the police assistance line, which is 131444, and you can make the report over the phone and you can give them details about what it was, where it was left, and they can also say to you, look, this is the phone number for example, Transport for New South Wales, lost property and that type of thing. Being able to make the report over the phone gives you that opportunity to hopefully recover your property faster. As well, if you're not too confident in perhaps delivering the information in English, you can also ask for a translator over the phone and they'll provide one for you, which makes things a lot easier. This app, Emergency Plus app, you can download on your phone. I honestly have it on my phone and I use it at work. So what it is you can open the app and it'll bring up a map of exactly where you are, and you can just press a button on the map and it will call 000 in the background. And the first thing that they're going to ask you is, where are you? Honestly, where are we right now? Does anyone know? Street address? Cross Street? No. I'm the same. I actually just had to think about it when I was asking you the question. That's why I asked. But look, we're on Liverpool Street, cross of Castlereagh Street, or Castlereagh Street, cross of Liverpool Street. So you can see how difficult it is to know where you are. So this app is really awesome. You can open it up. It'll give you coordinates. It'll give you a street address. It'll show you exactly where you are. Very, very helpful in an emergency situation when you're probably not thinking straight anyway. So a really, really great resource. How to identify us? First of all, police uniform. That's the first and foremost and easiest way to identify us. Most of us wear what we call the two blues. Okay, we've got light blue up the top and dark blue down the bottom. We do also have our plain clothes police, so officers that aren't wearing uniform. And as well, we have a range of other police that do different things. We've got police who ride push bikes. You might see us around in the city, particularly when there's protests. The guys in the white, they're our police rescue. They help cats stuck in trees when the fire brigade aren't available. And then we've got also people like down the bottom, we've got police on motorbikes, we've got police on the highway who are usually in the really fancy BMWs or Chryslers with the big stickers along the sides. They like to drive fast, and they're usually the stories that we hear when we go to parties outside of work is that time the highway gave me a traffic fine. So, yes, highway. So these are our plainclothes police. There's a picture of them up the top here. If you do get stopped by somebody that's telling you that they're a plainclothes police officer, you're well within your rights, and in fact I would encourage you to ask for identification. Any police officer that's wearing plainclothes in New South Wales know that they have to give identification, okay? And every police officer in New South Wales carries their badge with them at all times, okay? So it's really important that if somebody stops you, because there has been incidents where people report to be police officers and then they use that as means to extort somebody, take some money from them, take some property from them. So it's really important to ask for ID. And as well, I mean, honestly, even if you're feeling uncomfortable, just call 000, even if it is a cop. They're not going to care. At some point down the line, a uniformed police officer is going to turn up and they're going to say, yes, this person's a police officer. there's no one's going to get angry, no one's going to get, I mean, they might get a little bit annoyed and offended, you don't think they're a cop, but it is what it is. We don't wear shorts like that. We may have once upon a time, but not anymore. Virtual kidnapping is something that we see a lot in the international student in our international student programs. Maybe more so with Chinese students, but effectively what it is you are blackmailed into a point where you are told that you have been kidnapped, and it gets to a point where you actually fake your own kidnapping. We find people in hotel rooms, literally with tomato sauce on them, taking photos to make it look like they have injuries, and they're being extorted by somebody else back at home. And in places where you have a lot of respect for police, often what they're saying is that the police may have your parents under arrest, the police may have somebody in your family under arrest. You need to do X, Y, and Z to get these people a way out of being in trouble with the government, in trouble with the police, or something like this. It is real. Honestly, I know of at least maybe 3 or 4 of these scenarios in the last 6 months here in Sydney City area. So they happen quite often. It seems crazy that you can actually be virtually kidnapped without somebody there, but the people who are doing these are very powerful, and they often have a lot of personal information and really extort people out of a lot of money when really at the other end there's nothing going on. Scams, unfortunately, are quite high here in Sydney. I don't know how long any of you have actually been here, but I'm not sure if you've received phone calls, text messages. Big one is text messages for tolls. Phone calls, just people cold calling you on phone numbers. Fortunately now they're even able to sort of have the same phone number as your actual legitimate bank. So that's really, really unfortunate. I've even received text messages myself from what's reported to be CommBank, and it came in the same text message from where I've actually received genuine text messages from CommBank. So that's a shame. My advice would be, if anyone calls you and they're telling you they're from the tax office, you owe a bill, they're telling you you owe tolls, whatever it is, ask them what company they're from, say thanks so much, hang up on them, find the actual legitimate phone number for that company, ring them back, and go about it that way. Because 9 times out of 10, you probably don't owe anything, and you're going to ring the company and they're going to say you were most likely involved in a scam. And unfortunately, scams here in New South Wales at the moment are at an all-time high, and our international students are a big, big target. You're away from home, unfortunately, sometimes vulnerable. You may get text messages saying, hey, this is mum, I've lost my phone. Hey, this is dad, I've lost my phone. I need $100, can you transfer it to me? And on the scam goes. You may also get a text message to say you have a warrant from the police. We're not going to send you a text message. We will knock on your door. We're not going to tell you you have a warrant. There is a little black book of scams you can actually get from the ACCC, but I would say at the rate that scams are coming out at the moment, this book is probably out of date by the end of each week, so I wouldn't worry about getting one of those. Although you can go onto their website, and they obviously have up-to-date information about all the local scams. Next one. Yep, that's fine. Still talking about scams. Mail theft here is also a really, really big thing that happens. Actually, probably one of the most common crimes we come across is mail theft. So if you know, for example, like let's say you've gone to Service New South Wales and you're waiting for a driver's license to arrive, don't just not check your mailbox for a week. Check your mailbox every single day until it arrives. Don't leave mail sitting in, because the more and more personal information that builds up in your mailbox. If somebody comes, they have keys, they use screwdrivers, whatever means they can, they get the letterbox open, and they've got, they may have 5 or 6 letters with different types of personal information. One might have a name, one might have a different part of a name, one might have an address, well they're probably all going to have an address, but some might have a bank card number, some might have something else. And if they've got 5 letters from you, then they have enough information to go and open a bank account. Okay, so that's also a really common thing here, is mail theft, people stealing identities. If you are a victim of mail theft, it's very important to report it and speak to companies like Service New South Wales and stuff like that and get your information changed. Sexual assault in New South Wales is something that we take very seriously. It's often comes hand in hand with being intoxicated, going out and perhaps going too far with somebody that you've just met. Okay, so it's really important to ensure that if you do go out and you do feel like that, things might be going really well and you might be going home with someone, consent is very, very important. It's important to speak about consent with that person, what that consent means, because in New South Wales, when that is reported and you haven't got consent, you will be charged with sexual assault. Okay, so this is a really, really important, I know it's a really heavy and dark theme, but we're very, very strong stance on that in New South Wales. Alcohol-related laws. These are probably, I would say New South Wales probably have some of the strictest alcohol laws in many places that I've been to. Always take your ID with you. You have to have ID, doesn't matter what age you are. The person on the door is going to ask you for ID. You can be asked for ID by any police officer, by any person working in the bar at any time. I wouldn't take your passport if you can avoid it. Obviously a passport has a lot of information on it that is quite difficult to get back. You can go to Service New South Wales and I think for, it doesn't have a price on here, it might be on the next page, $56. You can get just a card that says how old you are. It's like a New South Wales ID card and you can use that Australia-wide as well. That's a good way to not have to take your passport out with you. If you get refused entry or if you get asked to leave by somebody at a pub or a bar, you must leave. Even if you don't think you're that drunk, you're probably all over the place and they're probably asking you to leave for a good reason. I've been there many times and sometimes you just really want to have that argument with security because you think you're right, but 99% of the time you're not right, and look, there might be 1% of the time where you are. Whatever, just the best thing you can do is leave and go to the next pub. If you can, if you get let in. If you don't leave, the next thing you're going to see is us. Now, it's an on-the-spot $550 fine for refusing to leave, or even refusing to leave the vicinity, okay? So you have to be 50 metres away from that place. If you don't leave and we turn up, unfortunately, you're going to have a really, really bad day. And you're going to have a fine, and it's not what you want. I know sometimes, I get it. I've probably been in more arguments than I should with security, but you've just got to go. It's the best thing for you, and nobody wants to get a ticket from the cops. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, look, safety first, walking in the street. Sydney is a very safe place, okay? Well, New South Wales, Australia really is a very safe place. Most of the crime we have is what we call opportunistic, okay? And that's where we're talking about walking in dark alleys at night. Not to say that dark alleys at night aren't safe, but the opportunistic crime is if you're in a dark alley at night and you're walking down the alleyway with your $2,500 Mac laptop and somebody walks past, or you're looking at something else or something like that. That's the kind of opportunistic crime we're talking about. We're not talking about targeted crime here. We're not talking about people waiting in alleyways for someone to walk down there. Somebody walks past and sees that opportunity. Another big thing is leaving things in a cafe. You might just think, I'll just leave my laptop here and go to the toilet. You come back, I can probably almost guarantee you your laptop's not going to be there. Unfortunately, they're just really common crimes here in Sydney, is just that somebody sees something, they think, that's a good idea, I'll take it. Okay, so keep your property with you. Just be aware of your surroundings. It's not to say you can't walk in dark places at night, but walk with another friend, tell somebody where you're going, what time you're expected to be there, and look after each other. Yeah, weapons. You cannot carry your own weapons here in Australia. So you can't have your own pepper spray. Okay, you certainly can't have your own firearms. You can't carry tasers, knives as well. You cannot carry in New South Wales without a reasonable excuse. If you use a knife for work, if you're using a knife to prepare food, if it's part of your job or something like that, that's completely fine. You can't carry a knife for your protection. Okay, if you get stopped and you are found to be carrying a knife and you have it purely for your protection or to make sure that nobody else can hurt you, unfortunately you will be fined or charged for carrying a knife. Road rules and transport. There are new rules around driving in New South Wales as international students. I'm not entirely sure. I think it's a little bit confusing. I think it's if you're here for more than 3 months now on a visa, you do have to get a New South Wales driver's license. For those first 3 months though, you can drive on an international license. Safety tip, that's right, jaywalking, don't walk on the red man when I'm standing on the other side of the pedestrian crossing because it really annoys me. I probably won't fine you, but I might yell at you in front of like the other 50 people that are standing there waiting to cross. Doesn't look very good. Yeah, look, always use a pedestrian crossing. It is an offence to cross when there's a red man. That doesn't mean that you have to walk 100 metres to get to the crossing. If you're 50 metres away from the crossing, you can cross directly across the road. Okay, you don't have to, like, if you're trying to get somewhere and you're like, the crossing's all the way down there and I have to go just there, you can cross directly in the fastest route. Don't wander across the road, just walk across and make sure you're safe. Cyclist safety, you have to wear a helmet here in New South Wales. That's a big thing. We've got lots of great bike lanes in Sydney now and more being built, but you do have to make sure you are wearing a helmet. Another big thing at the moment is electronic bikes, okay? The laws are slower than technology, believe it or not. They are effectively illegal, okay? So pretty much, if you're on an e-bike that you don't have to pedal and it goes faster and faster and faster, it's a motorbike. Essentially, that's how it is here in New South Wales, okay? So if you don't have to pedal and you can just, and it's got a throttle on it, and you get stopped by Highway Patrol, our great friends at Highway Patrol, you'll be fined for being unlicensed, unregistered. There's like 5 different fines and it can be up to like $2,500 to $3,000, okay? So if you are working for a delivery organisation and they give you a bike and they say, don't worry, this one's awesome, you don't have to pedal, say, yeah, no thanks, I'll take one that I have to pedal. You can definitely use an e-bike, just it has to be one that when you pedal, that's when the power comes. And if you stop pedaling, the power stops. If you stop pedaling and it goes even quicker, not good. And yes, a watermelon does not count as a helmet. You can get them from Kmart or Target for honestly about $2. So it's definitely worth not getting the $350 fine. Yep, motorcycle, yes, there we go. It is a motorcycle. And I have our good friends here. Look, how good are we? Look at, hey? I'm not going to talk about that because we've got our friends from Surf Life Saving. How to find us? Well, look, there's lots and lots of police stations across New South Wales. Most suburbs have a main police station. Most police stations that you go to in Sydney are going to be open for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Whenever we're out and about, feel free to come and say hello to us. I mean, if we look like we're running towards something or like responding to a job, you may get a rude response. Otherwise, if we're just wandering around, please come and say hello to us. We always love to have a chat to people and learn about everyone's experiences. We're certainly friendly people here in New South Wales and the police. We're happy for people to come and say hello. Come into the police station, have a chat. Usually what we're dealing with is people in their worst days of their lives. So it is nice a lot of the time to have somebody just come up and say, how's your day going? That's not something we get too often. So We'll be here afterwards, obviously, and if you have any questions about anything that you're curious about, traffic or whatever related, we're happy to answer that. So thank you so much for having us.